I would actually say it's as much like English and American, right? It's like you're speaking the same language, but not.
Different words mean
Yeah,
different things.
exactly. So Jerry, thanks for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
Let's talk about migrating to a public cloud provider. What kind of management challenges are people facing as they do that?
So I think there's a huge management challenge. There's a gap in the solutions out there today. People have to understand that the cloud is not a fuzzy thing floating in the air. It's a data center. And so it's going to be different than the current data center you have. And so while you're used to managing things in a certain way, this is going to be different. And they're going to have different names for things. So Amazon doesn't have VMs, they have instances. They don't have firewalls, they have security groups. And so they have different things that are going on. So the challenge there is understanding what's really going on there and trying to see what really matters. It's almost like a language difference between speaking French and English. The same thing's going on in an instance, just a VM, and how do I sort of normalize that and incorporate that into what I'm familiar with?
Yeah, interesting. I would actually say it's as much like English and American, right? It's like you're speaking the same language, but not.
Different words
Yeah,
mean different things.
Exactly. So once people start incorporating the cloud, do you see a lot of the same management challenges?
Yeah, we really do. First of all, there's a migration issue where some of the cloud providers say, hey, rebuild all your apps in the cloud. People are not. They have a current app they use. They don't have the time or the resources to rebuild, and you don't need to rebuild a lot of apps. It's a web service. So first of all, how do I migrate there? And so we provide a very easy migration tool. As you know, we're integrated into vCenter. So you just migrate using the cloning wizard you're familiar with today. If you wanted to clone from one ESXi host to another, you do that. Now you go from that ESXi host directly into the cloud. So it's very easy for you. So the migration's there. Then once it's there, it's the whole monitoring, and the normal thing you'd normally look at it would be, is it performing the way I want it to? Am I getting my alarms, my alerts, my performance? And so I want to have the incorporation of all those tools around that too, which is all based around vCenter in our situation.
And if they didn't have your solution, then they'd have to get all this information from a bunch of different places.
Right.
Again, speaking a completely different language.
Right, you have to get a different language, a different tool, a different vendor. Your reports won't be together, different builds, you get drift, you get compliance issues. All those things we had before, when you looked at, before we did virtualization, we sort of normalized, you're going back to the silo.
So HotLink has a lot of experience with hybrid IT. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what the products that you bring to the table?
So we've been doing hybrid IT before people knew what hybrid IT was. A lot of our pitch would be hybrid IT, and people went, what do you mean hybrid IT? Hybrid meaning, we have a pretty strict definition of it, meaning that you're actually interlinking these things together. They're not siloed. You're not saying I have some Amazon, I have some Azure, I have something else. I have an infrastructure. I can use it whenever I want. I can move between them anytime I want. I can add any ones I want. I can do multi-tiered application that says my web services are running in Amazon, but my app services are running on premise in a true hybrid environment.
And so you can move VMs between these environments.
Yeah, transparently, as you can burst as you want to do. You can have more come up, some come down. You can take workloads you're familiar with, which is very important to people, and suddenly say, you know something, I don't need those on-premise, I'll have them in the cloud for a while. Or I can do things like I can take a workload I'm familiar with, have the test and dev guys work on it in the cloud, which is very inexpensive for you, and then say, you know something, and for operations, I want to run it back on-premise and bring it back down and run it there. It's hybrid. You do it any way you want, and you use the facilities the way you like.
So how important do you think it is to unify the public cloud management with the on-premise management?
I think it's vitally important for your production environment. It's not so important for people doing test and dev. They're sort of separate, right? They just take my test and dev stuff. But when I want to go into production, I need to know what's going on across all of my infrastructure. I want to be the same. I want to be the same patches, you're up to speed, same compliance, same config. And I want all those same tools that make it production, right? What's my alarming? What's my alerting? What's my help desk? What's my service desk? That's what makes it production. It can run in a production environment, and that is management.
So if an IT organization is currently not using a public cloud, but they're considering moving to a public cloud, what's the best way for them to get started?
Well, of course, I'd say the best thing you should do is call HotLink. Because we know what we're doing, and we can give you lots of advice around it, right? First thing, which clouds are you looking at? Which ones do you think you want to go to? We make it easy to try them all, or most of the major ones, so you can find out for yourself what you like and don't like. And that's probably the best thing to go forward. And look at it more as in, you're going to go there, not am I going there or not. Almost everyone is going there. Based on that, what's the end result you're looking for? You're looking for something that's easy, right? Affordable, flexible. You don't want to be trapped into some certain cloud. You want to be able to move from place to place. And think of it that way. And in the ideal situation, how would it look to you? And based on that, then make your decisions versus this one sounds okay, right? It's almost like maybe buying a house, right? The right neighborhood, the right schools, the right stuff. This work for you. And you want to have it probably in your same sort of infrastructure you have today of some sort because you like it and you built it. So you want to incorporate it.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that interview with HotLink. Make sure to check out our other videos on our channel and subscribe.